Welcome to another episode of This Is My Car. My name is David Jacobson. Today's guest is James Serafino. Like many of us, James was the son of a car maniac whose passion of automobiles started when he custom ordered his first car, a 1963 Jaguar XKE fixed head coupe in opalescent blue. Needless to say, James and his father were ready for a project like what you're going to see here today. Let's take a look at what James drove here today. Hey, James.
David, how are you?
Good to see you, man.
Good.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah. I don't even know where to start. I really don't. So we'll start before we even get to the car. You know, I know that you have an extensive design background. What influence did that have in designing the car?
You know, there are three factors that were the driver behind this car. Number one, professionally, I'm a designer. I'm an architect. Right. I have a degree in architecture, so that really allows me, I think, to focus on the detail. Number two, I grew up in an obscene household that was crazy about cars, and my dad had spec'd out, spec'd out his first car, a '63 Jaguar fixed head coupe. So that was also, he was kind of very large part of the story. He and I did this together. Right. And then lastly, being a product of the '80s and just having, when I was falling in love with these cars, Porsche was coming out with their Sonderwunsch program and their special wishes. Yeah. So obviously that played into it as well.
Yeah, and I know your dad was is a big car guy.
Yeah.
And I've seen you at a bunch of different events with him, and he shared the passion with you in a big way as well, right?
Absolutely. So it really starts like my parents were divorced when I was a young age, and my dad would put my sister and I to sleep reading us stories about cars. So I knew the sound of Italian cars. I knew the technology of a German car. So really, cars and have been has been a part of my story forever. And there was not a moment when my dad and I weren't talking about cars or interacting with cars. So when we had an opportunity to build something like this, we both jumped in, both feet forward.
But at the end of the day, all of that led you to building this incredible automobile. Tell me about this color.
Yeah. So the color is called Chromaflair, and the Chromaflair is a type of paint where they put down a number of coats of paint, and during the process of the paint, they actually insert very small pieces of almost glass-like materials that makes the paint or makes the paint react to the source of light and the amount of light.
So this is a multi-step process, I'm assuming?
It is. From what I understand, it's about 8 weeks to prepare, to paint, and they do make this Chromaflair in about 5 shades. This is one of them being the Urban Bamboo. We were able to get a GT2 RS build slot, and once we did, we let them know, the factory, that we would look to do something special in the car. And this is basically the color that's as close to my dad's '63 fixed head coupe. And that was an opalescent blue, and this is kind of...
that's kind of where you came up with...
That's right. That's right.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So Porsche was sprinkling some of these real special cars out, and you were able to get one of those slots for it.
I truly think, and it's just a credit. It's just a credit because here it is, one of the larger manufacturers of automobiles in the world, and they still take the time to work one-on-one with the customer to take it as far as they could. Obviously, DOT and safety and warranty things all in consideration, but they really stay with you and really work with you as if they were a 20-person shop just working to make this car perfect for you.
Well, and also let's listen. Nobody does this for free, right? So we don't have to get into exact numbers, but I'm sure Porsche said, yeah, we'll do this at a price, and there was a premium. I know what we on PCarmarket, we actually sold Jerry Seinfeld's car, which had a
I remember.
What was the color of that car? Liquid silver or liquid silver
metallic
blue? Metallic.
Yeah.
It was very similar to this process, I believe, and the car was at least $150,000 or $200,000 more than the standard one. I think like 50 or 60 grand for the paint.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go into the detail, but there was a big premium
There was certainly a big premium, but true to the factory, what they did is when I kept in touch with Atlanta, by that point I had moved away from the dealer exchange of discussion and went to Atlanta, to the North headquarters, to the exclusive manufacturer group. And they were honest and upfront of how far do you want to take it, here's the estimated cost to do certain elements of the car, here's what that would cost to get into feasibility. A lot of the car that you see here, to prepare a particular item, they had to go through a few feasibility checks. So we had to obviously commission those feasibility studies as we went forward in the process.
Yeah, now is this the most unique or the most optioned GT2 RS?
I understand it is. Yeah, I understand it is. It took about 2 years to spec. that was going back and forth. We went down, my dad and I went down to Atlanta twice. I went a third time, and the exclusive manufacturer rep came up to New York once, flew up because they had a sample of the Chromaflair in the rear window, so in the rear mirror, so they brought it up.
So you got a chance to share all that with your dad.
Yeah,
that whole experience.
He was there to take delivery and everything.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that must be very special. Must be a
lifelong
very nice
dream.
memory. Let's go to the back and take a look
Please.
at some of the features back there. Well, you know what? Before we do that, let's just see what's going on back here. First of all, you have the wing, and I know this is not typical.
No. So obviously the white gold theme that we talked about earlier, and that started in the early part of the car, we wanted to continue it around back or as much as possible. So we had requested Porsche to see if the uprights can be made in that same white gold. They actually had to go through 2 feasibility studies, which you see here is a third version that actually made it to a production model. I understand it's the only production model that has it. Also, the decals on the top were white gold. You'll see the white gold over here on the side. And Porsche, while they wouldn't really affect the motor nor touch the motor in the commissioning process for CXX, they did allow me, or they did put in a white gold air intake.
Well, let's take a look at that. First of all, look at the way the way the light hits this wing over here. It's really something else.
Yeah.
So let's open this up. I know you have to pull it up, and then you hear it sounds like it's cracking, and it's good. So tell us about that again.
So obviously, just in some of the design process, we wanted to understand what these materials of finish were, and it turns out from the factory, some of these were white gold. So we thought that was a cue that, in addition to the wheels, and that we can run with, and these little fan housing boxes were also done in white gold as well.
Yeah, really nice. Everything, even the way Porsche does it in general. You know, when you have just these caps, they're just really nicely done. Everything that you see, Porsche touches and makes it look like purposefully.
You're right. And to your, we're car lovers. So when we grew up, you'd see cars with a little paint where it was finished or torquing in the factory.
No more.
You just get that look though, and the feeling of just in the quality of even the bolts and screws that they use.
Absolutely. Now back here, the diffuser, standard, nothing performance
standard
done?
Diffuser, nothing special there. Obviously, it's an American car, so we had to have the colored lights back here, but just that white gold that you see, those touches over here.
Yeah, lovely. Let's put this down. I want to see how heavy this is. This is a pretty light car, all things said, but this has some weight to it.
Absolutely.
And this needs to be strong enough to handle that. So, this is not some little although it looks delicate, it looks beautiful, this has some serious construction to it.
You're absolutely right. Porsche, obviously, in the CXX commissioning of the car, they wouldn't affect anything that would either affect the performance of the car or the life of the car. So it's interesting, and like you point out, it's amazing. They were actually able to finish painting these surfaces in that color we wanted, that experimental color, using these experimental finish on this, and not giving it any of what they would have had from the factory as far as the build.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's jump in this interior. Well, not physically, but let's take a look at it. I got a lot of questions for you.
I'd love to.
So, once again, where do I begin? I could see, from my view, I could see the colors. I could probably see every color this car has inside of in its paint. I see the blue, I see the taupe, I see the bamboo. It's incredible. So and then my eye just goes boom right into the interior. So tell us, James, some of the choices you made, why you made them, and
absolutely
what's different than a typical.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you mentioning that you see some of the colors of the exterior in the inside of the car, because that was some of the theme in planning it. We wanted to work with materials that would work with the change of color of the car. Sometimes it appears very blue. Afternoon light, you'll see it as bright gold. In between, during the day, it'll get taupey. So we felt we would want to work with materials that would showcase the car, work with it, but not be too overpowering. So what we selected was, obviously you've got the agate, which is that kind of gray, but it's got some depth of brown to it that kind of comes out, and also the Weiss, which is the German version of their kind of off-white leather.
The carpet's agate?
Carpet, headliner, everything, all the interiors are agates. And we also wanted to see how far we can take the car and how far they would be willing to take the car, almost like a timestamp as here's how special we feel a car could be at this time and age.
Wow,
So we did work in the exterior paint in the seat inserts. That is from that is Chromaflair as well. It's very interesting because it appears different because the sunlight or natural light doesn't hit it. The Weiss interior with the houndstooth was important. We felt that houndstooth was a little bit of a throwback to some of their earlier cars where houndstooth was common as a material, and then worked off the Weiss and the agate. Where you see the agate, you've got stitching of the Weiss interior. We commissioned renderings during the build process. It probably only took about 2 for the outside. We seemed to know what we were doing. Inside, it took about 6 or 8. Just the movement of materials, so that where you have carbon fibers working off the agate, and you're not getting it next to too much. The white leather, we felt it would work better with that.
Yeah, and the GT2 obviously has no rear seats, but boy, did you not forget that area. You really nailed it here as well, in the back and also in the front here. That contrast of colors really.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That crisp, that crisp accent. Is what we were searching for, because even with that, it cuts that floor where you're kind of seeing that carpet be interrupted.
Even the vents. You have that white again in the vents, which matches the interior. Absolutely. Those are the little touches that make it. And then you have the deviated stitching, and on and on and on. And listen, I have a 911R, which have these seats, the houndstooth inserts. So I'm in love with these, but they're also very functional. These seats are probably one of the most supportive, comfortable, and lightweight seats on the market, right?
They really are. They're incredible, and to think that this functional seat can become so pretty as to what to the amount of detail was, again, one of the drivers.
Let's take a look what's underneath the bonnet, and then we're going to take this for a ride.
I'm looking forward to showing it to you.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so in the front over here, before we pull this open here, you have anything different?
Again, that white gold theme continues around the front, so you'll see the mesh here is also white gold. That happened to come that way from the factory, but was also part of the planning process. Under the hood is where we spent a good bit of time and attention.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the white continues.
Definitely.
Nice detail.
Yeah, so you've got the white, the Weiss leather with the agate stitching. Of course, we could not mess. This is a performance car, so that stayed the same. You've got a reservoir here for distilled water. So you've got that stayed, but it just stayed.
Distilled water.
Yeah. So the distilled water, I believe, keep the intercoolers cool and allow a little extra performance as the car is at speed.
All GT2s.
All GT2 RSs. Yeah.
So, man, these turbos, what a pain in the neck. So tell us about these signatures.
Absolutely.
And you got some books in here that I also want to see.
Yeah, definitely. So again,
signatures are these?
Yeah, so again, just understanding how important it was to document this. We wanted this project to be part of everybody that helped build it and everything. So the people who built the car signed the car. And everybody that was part of it. I think the gentleman over there, Boris Appenbrink, is the head or near head of Porsche exclusive. So he also signed the car. But the car's a race car. The car is meant to show the extreme performance. So at the time, Lars Kern, he also came through during that build process to sign the car. He had at that point the lap record with this particular model in Nürburgring. And Hurley Haywood, a noted race car driver from America that we followed. My dad and I have followed throughout his whole entire career.
Absolutely, Brumos racer.
Yeah, he was kind enough to sign it as well. Porsche was behind us in just making sure that this was special. This whole process was documented and it was special. And they're car lovers. At the nature of who they are, they're car lovers as well as fabricators. So what they did is they had handed over this personalized booklet, which kind of shows into just the materials used. This was shared with us. Just the fact that, hey, the car's made by hand, so with that, and then the colors used.
Wow.
And then they also provided 2 booklets that came with the car, one of which was a photo essay of the interior being built.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, incredible. This is the interior just coming together, and it really went through step by step. You can see in some cases that
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's something else.
That's
something else, man. Beautiful. Another heavy duty product. So really unbelievable. And now we have the interior there. You have the little color paint. Nice pieces to have.
A nice memento.
Yeah,
it just speaks to the engagement between this large automobile manufacturer, but just how personal they can make a car and how involved they can have you in the experience.
Yeah, incredible. Well, all of this led up to just total joy and excitement in getting to drive this. So I think if it's okay with you, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'd love to. I'd love to.
Great. So we twin turbo, 700 horsepower.
I love the garble.
Oh, yeah.
Purple, you know, it still has that.
Yes.
I think the engineers, when putting this together, made a point to make it sound like some of the earlier, you know, earlier GT cars that had a bit of a ferocious sound to it coming off throttle.
Yes. Yep. And then even with the now this has a double a double flywheel, right? Like
Yes.
a dual flywheel.
Yeah.
Because I know when they did the 911R and they have the single mass, that it has that clankier sound, more mechanical sound.
Yeah.
But this is crisp. This is enjoyable in a whole different way. It just feels, you know, the car feels tight. It feels like you're really driving something extremely track worthy, which it is. But you also can hear that power. You can hear that performance as well.
It truly is. Behind you, there's a symphony. You know, just finding when it finds that gear and comes off RPM and climbs.
Yes.
Really
Yeah.
It's just,
Fabulous. Fabulous.
you just get the feeling it swallows
Oh my
the road.
goodness. You got to put some miles on this, Jamie.
I know. You're making me rethink this whole philosophy.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I'm the first one that's giving you this experience in your car.
It actually feels great just sitting right here now.
But you know, Jamie, it's here. Okay, so here we hear what we hear, we feel what we feel. But I'm still loving the colors, the combination. I'm still enjoying the time and money you spent making this car so special, including these fan blades that are color keyed. I love touches like that.
As you know, definitely, you know, we wanted to make sure every detail, every thought, the stitching was just thought out comprehensively. And Porsche Auto Group had a large, you know, dialogue in it. You know, we had wanted a lighter dashboard at first. They talked us out of that, you know, out of fear of glare. And they said work with some of the other contrasting colors. So it was interesting, their feedback, and I'm glad we did, and I'm glad it turned out the way it did.
Yeah, the experts, you need to get some important feedback from them.
Yeah.
Even these white. Now, what's the color of this white again?
You've got so that's the Weiss is the leather.
The Weiss.
You've got white dials.
They're white
well.
dials. Yeah, but they don't just complement. They're unbelievable. They're so easy on the eyes. That's one of my favorite things about the interior. I always love the dials. You know, in certain colors, to me, it makes the car very special.
And at night, they give a nice glow. That
Oh
kind of
yeah,
works as well.
yeah, and then definitely. And so here's a nice road to twist you a little bit. But you can also drive this car. You can turn everything off here. You can bring it back to normal and drive it like a gentleman's sports car.
You sure could.
You don't have to be a lunatic with this thing. You can just cruise. In fact, if you turn off the sport button here, things quiet down a little bit.
Absolutely. You'll notice it just drops. The gears change a little bit higher, and it's.
And you drive it, yeah.
You know, gonna have an easy conversation.
Yeah, I always laugh when I see the write-ups and said harsh ride, hard riding car made for the track. And you know what? It is. But you know what? I personally, I know this is personal taste. I like that.
I do too.
I wouldn't want it any other way. It's not too hard. It's
I do
beautiful.
too. When I'm driving in this car, in my GT cars, I want this ride. If I want a softer ride, something, I'll drive it something else. This is the ride this car should have.
Absolutely. Let me put it back in for the last.
Those turbos just pick up so great.
Ooh, baby.
They just feel so great when they, you know, you kind of get them going.
Really lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
All right. There's our little last blast here.
Do it.
That's quick pickup to over 100. Wow, Jamie.
It's crazy. Just experiencing that, you know, the way you can push back into the supportive seats. And the car just seems like, you mentioned the ride. When you're on the throttle like that, that ride just blends. It just makes it more possible. Yeah.
So now the car heads over to the Experience Center after this, right?
Yeah, so from here it's going back to where we took delivery of it in the headquarters in Atlanta for Porsche.
Right.
It's going to stay there for most of the summer and the exhibit, and then we get to enjoy it in the fall again.
So for those of you that want to take a look at this car in person, Jamie, they can go see it at the Porsche Experience Center, and it's going to be down there, what dates?
I think it's down there from the end of March through the end of September.
So up to September 2021, this year, and they can see it in person, and definitely worthy of a trip to the Porsche Experience Center anyway. What a great fun place if you're a car enthusiast, a Porsche lover, and then you get to see special things in person like this. Very cool. So we have 91 miles on this car. I feel honored.
It's getting up there.
I feel honored, yeah. Man, I wish we could break 100.
Yeah.
No. You're laughing on the outside, but hey.
It'd be noteworthy.
So again, I can't thank James enough for letting me drive the car. I know I drove it more than he did. I think we're about to cross over 100 miles. Are you okay?
Let's do it.
I don't know if he's going to handle this. Well, if we can get a camera shot, we're at 98 miles. And I know we're going to cross 100 because we're more than 2 miles away. 99 miles. After this light. Get a close-up. Oh, there it is. 100 miles.
Hit it.
100 miles. Big milestone.
That's awesome.
Don't forget to check this car out at the Porsche Experience Center. It's going to be there for the next month or two, and definitely a treat and definitely worth it. So thank you, James.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm ready for a gunfight. So again, thank you so much, Jamie. It was a real joy and a real thrill. And I know a lot of people are going to enjoy this at the Experience Center in Atlanta. So thank you all for watching. This is my car. Next episode is going to be very, very exciting. We're looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you for watching. Hey, James.
David, how are you?
Nice to see you, man.
Good to see you.
How are you? Ooh, we missed each other, yeah. The first miss of the day.